CPS became involved with our situation in February of 2019. Ian had our daughter, and he was also watching his son, who is 6 months younger than our daughter. While Ian was carrying both the children down the stairs, they fell, and his son suffered from brain hemorrhages.
I was going downstairs to take a shower, and I slipped on the carpet. And to save my son, I grabbed him, and he hit my collarbone. But it was purely an accident.
He ended up going to the hospital.
I get there, CPS is already there. They think that I've abused my son.
CPS was getting ready to close the case in May of 2020 when an incident happened with our daughter. One day, I let Ian have both of our children for the day. We picked them up that night, and they were both fine. And then the next morning, I noticed she had a black eye forming, and her nose had a cut on it. I do not know what happened. Somebody alerted CPS that was alleged that I hurt her. I thought maybe it was Ian. I don't know. I was asked to take my kids to the emergency room to get full body x-rays. And then the next day, CPS showed up at my mom's house and they told me, we're drug testing you for LSD. However, my drug test came back clean.
I feel guilty because I knowingly gave my 2 kids back to Jess while she was high on LSD.
I was not high or intoxicated when I went to sleep that night. I admitted to my wrongdoing and it was used against me.
And then the next day, they took the kids into foster care, and they've been in foster care since that day.
I felt like I wanted to die. Like my whole world was ripped away from me. It's been 1.5 years since I lost my kids. We are in my kids' room. It's hard living without them, period. I feel like I'm living in a world that's not my own because I'm without my family.
We have jumped through every hoop. They don't care if we get our kids back. I believe I should have my kids back 100%. I'm not the monster that they say I am.
I would do anything to get them back.
Now you say that you think CPS is full of a bunch of narcissists.
I do. It's the gaslighting, mostly.
And define that.
They're constantly using my weaknesses against me. My emotions get the best of me. And I feel like they constantly pick at me to get a reaction out of me so that they can turn around and say, look at how crazy she is. Her kids are not safe with her.
Jessica has seen my anger. I have harmed her.
One day, I was getting ready to take a nap with the kids, and he comes storming into my bedroom and throws his phone at me, and then leaves. So I was going through his phone. There was a message from a female, and it was a naked picture. I went out to the living room. I showed the phone to him. I was livid. I was seeing red at this point. I slapped him across the face, and I said, get out of my house before I call the cops. And so he immediately went in for the chokehold.
I do remember her coming out, slapping me as hard as she can, which triggered me. In response, I reached out and I grabbed her neck with both hands, strangling her.
What I remember is looking at him in his eyes and just trying to, I guess telepathically, try to get to him and say, you don't want to do this.
When I did let her go, I stormed out with a knife into the garage. There was a bowling ball. I threw it through her SUV front window. I stormed off saying that she was to call the cops. I'm gonna have them shoot me. Suicide by cop.
I called the cops on him. He ended up getting arrested and was eventually charged with criminal menacing. Whatever mental health issues he has going on in his head, I would absolutely compare it to a demon. It turns him into this person I do not recognize.
You come out and slap him.
I did.
You say you're triggered, so you start choking her. There's a knife involved. A bowling ball goes through the windshield of the car. You decide suicide by cop. From where I'm sitting, if I'm saying, what do I do with these children? What am I missing here? Where's the conspiracy here? What is it you don't understand?
I guess my thing is that was 2 years ago. We got back together last year, and ever since then, we've been communicating a lot better, in my opinion. He's more receptive to my feedback of things. He still flies off the handle sometimes, but he's not.
You said you believe that he's a good guy
I do.
and that you love him.
I do.
He just has a demon.
I mean, I wouldn't say it's a demon, but that's what I would compare it to. It's
That is what you said.
scary. Yeah, I mean, the person that he turns into is not him.
That was your word, not mine.
No,
You
yeah,
said
I know.
demon. He has a demon inside that possesses him, and it's not him. He changes so much. It's like a demon possesses him.
It's like living with Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde.
Okay.
And when that switch flips in his head, he is not the same person that I love.
You say, well, okay, not long ago I slapped him. He choked me. There was a knife involved. He threw a bowling ball through my windshield, decided to kill himself, suicide by cop. It's not really him. I think he's demon possessed. I think you have a real problem with anger.
I agree.
I don't think you shook that child. I think you're telling the truth when you say that didn't happen. So just so you know,
Thank you.
I believe you when you say that. And I think you need somebody to believe you.
That means a lot to me. I know I might be a monster in other ways, but I'm not a monster to any of my kids.
I do not think this man is a monster. Like, it makes me so happy to hear somebody say that they believe him.
I have only seen my grandchildren a handful of times since they've went into foster care, and that's been 1.5 years. I do not believe the situation with CPS was fair to them at all. It's very heart-wrenching not knowing when you're going to get your kids back. Ian absolutely loves his kids. He would never hurt any of them. His kids love him. I blame Jessica because she started doing drugs. It's not okay for her to be on drugs when she's with the kids. I believe that Ian and Jessica are very toxic together. Jessica constantly nags. I describe it as a chihuahua that just comes at and just doesn't stop until Ian gets mad. I believe that Jessica does push Ian's buttons, and then once he's there, she just doesn't stop. Ian is not stable right now, and I hate to say that about him. He doesn't have a job, he doesn't have a place to live. Ian needs his kids back in his life full time so that he can get his life turned around. His mental health has declined since all this has started. I believe the best scenario for these kids is to be back with their parents, even if it's Jessica that gets them back.
You say if there's blame to be assigned here, you think it's Jessica.
Yes.
You've described her as being like a chihuahua.
Oh, yeah. When she starts, she just don't know when to shut up.
Is like a
I'm
pit
talking
bull.
right
now. I know
now.
you're talking, but they said I can speak up, and I think it's absolutely ridiculous that you say I push his buttons when I try to walk away from the situation, and he constantly texts me for attention and texts me and texts me and texts me. So I'm not the only one that picks and picks and picks. You need to look at what your son does too. I'm not the only one that has a problem here. Your son likes to pick at me too. Open your eyes. I have admitted to my wrongdoings.
Are you done? I'd like to talk to Dr. Phil.
Yeah, well, you just like to interrupt everybody, so I guess you may go ahead.
Wow. I forgot what the question was.
You place the blame on Jessica.
Yes. When they got taken away, she was doing drugs. She even called my daughter one day and asked if she could come help her pick up the kids because she was day tripping.
How many children do you have?
I have 5.
You have 5 children?
Yes,
And how many moms?
4 moms.
Out of the 5, you have custody of how many?
I don't really have custody of any of them. I get to see them.
Okay, so you have 5 children from 4 mothers.
You have rights with 2 of them.
You can interrupt her, but
Sorry.
you can't interrupt me.
Sorry, no, I didn't mean to be rude, but yeah,
Yeah,
he
you're
has
still
his
doing it.
rights.
You're still doing it.
Sorry.
I don't feel like Jessica and Ian are very good with each other. They can get on each other's bad side just like that within a second. I do feel as if Ian and Jessica do deserve to lose their kids. Ian and Jessica are good parents, but they're just not good partners with each other. Ian has not had a stable home for at least the past 2 years. He's moved in and out of at least 3 places. Ian's home life isn't the best environment for the kids. He has not held a job for longer than 3 months, as far as I'm aware. He already has 3 other baby mothers he has to co-parent with. Ian has stolen from me and my family multiple times. He's stolen things as little as rolls of pennies, all the way up to a credit card he put in my name. It did ruin my credit. At this moment, I don't think Ian or Jessica are stable or mature enough to get their kids back from the foster system. I think the best outcome is they learn to get it together and learn how to co-parent for their kids that they've wanted for so long.
Jeremy, good to meet you.
Good to meet you too.
You're 20 years old.
Yep.
We got a mother and a father and a grandmother. And you're a 20-year-old kid, and you sat down and composed a very articulate, thoughtful letter.
Thank you.
And you're also very dedicated to your family.
Yeah, I love them.
Well, it's obvious. Why did you write in? Why did you do this?
So I've always seen Ian struggle, and I'm getting to the age where I don't want to fall into his shoes, and feel like I should help him too. I have a better understanding of what I feel like I need to do, so I said, why not try and help my brother?
What do you want for your brother?
I want him to kind of grow up. I know he is grown up, he's older than me, but I just want him to be more responsible.
Right?
And to get his kids back, of course.
I do my best, especially now that I've already started my own mental health healing journey. I try to encourage him as much as I can to get help, because what he's doing right now is not working.
There are 10 things that they're going to look at. It's really very straightforward. You need to provide a safe, stable, and secure environment, and you need to be able to show that that's true. You need to maintain a consistent, nurturing relationship with the child. You need to show that you can attend to the daily needs of the child, that you can get them to school, that you have the money to take care of them, that you have the maturity to put the child's needs ahead of your own, that you empathize and meet the child's needs, that you can regulate your impulses and emotions so you don't fly off the handle, that you assist the child in developing and maintaining appropriate relationships, and that you exercise appropriate judgment for their welfare. These are the 10 things that you have to demonstrate to them. You have a problem with anger. If I arrange for you to have an individual therapist that will help you with this, would you avail yourself of that?
Yes, I would.
Because I don't know this may be a completely biochemical thing with you. It may be neurological, hormonal, psychological. I don't know. 50% of the solution to any problem lies in defining it. Let's figure out what's going on. Maybe this is environmental and it's just you've gotten into bad habits. It may be that there are parts of your limbic system in your brain that have just kind of gone to sleep and need to be reawakened. But there are lots of things that can be done to control these impulses and this anger. Don't know what kind of therapist you have, but I'm glad you have one. And I hope you commit to that and stay with it.
I've been in therapy for almost 3 years.
Well, how they feel about you dropping acid?
She really didn't seem that concerned about it.
Might want to get a second opinion on that one.
They lost custody.
Was your daughter injured in your care?
Yes.
And how'd that happen?
I don't know.
And that's not all.
You say, I slapped him, he choked me, there was a knife involved, he threw a bowling ball through my windshield. What am I missing?
New Dr. Phil. Check your local listings.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.